For me personally, I used to work in the IT industry before I joined IRMA. I see agri and rural sector as the area where there is the most opportunity for people to work. That there are very few people in the market who understand the practical aspects of rural, of agri, of food. And at the same time, they are also very well, conversant with the traditional domains of marketing, financing, supply chain, technology, etc.
And so talking about change and interaction and engaging with the ecosystem as a whole, this is something which we see when we join these schools. So how do you tell it to the batches who want to come here, why to join IRMA?
Well, that's a very good question. See, IRMA is, according to me, a very, very unique institute because it combines two streams of knowledge or work. One is the rural domain. And the other is the part where there is the element of developmental intervention, doing something which will actually make a difference to the society at large. And there are very, very few institutes in the country which offer this, unique combo of being both trainers, both from a subject point of view as well as from a on-ground point of view, considering the opportunities that are there in the rural agri domain. So to that extent, it is very, very unique, and especially for people who would like to make a career in something to do with rural agri, it is of course the best place. For me personally, I used to work in the IT industry before I joined IRMA, and this was in the 90s when IT was just beginning to come up as a sector. It was a so-called sunrise sector at that time. But I, out of choice, left that job that I was doing, and then I came to IRMA. And then in the last 23 years, I've been mostly largely and entirely in the agri industry. So what I've observed is for anybody who would like to join IRMA, I think one is of course this element of being able to marry the parts where you do both rural, agri and management. The second is also, I see agri and rural sector as the area where there is the most opportunity for people to work. Because most of the other sectors that you will see, manufacturing or services or IT development, etc., are highly saturated, and there is a lot of competition and a lot of things have already been done. But the food and agri sector, the rural sector, the developmental sector is an area where so much more needs to be done. So things like, say, digitizing agri supply chains, formalizing food industry, getting into areas where you can utilize knowledge related to marketing, supply chain for organizing farmers, the entire cooperative movement, right? So there is a lot of opportunity. There is also a lot of focus from the government, because the government now increasingly wants to ensure that a lot more developmental activities happen, a lot more of market-oriented activities. So IRMA is very well positioned that there are these opportunities all around. And there are very few institutes which will actually cater to this opportunity, and you can be at the cutting edge of knowledge, whether it's marketing, whether it's finance, whether it's digital technology. So much needs to be done, in the agri domain. So professionally as well, it's a very good, I would say, satisfying opportunity for somebody if somebody would like to make a career either through a job or through your own entrepreneurial venture.
It's always about what's next. You said sunrise industry at that time was IT. What do you think is the sunrise industry in today's date, and how as IRMANs we can grab that opportunity and gain that one?
There is a very big shortage of good trained practical people who come from the rural and agri and food domain. So that's also, in fact, there are a couple of my batchmates who are now teaching at IIMs. And because they clearly sensed the opportunity and avoid that there are very few people in the market who understand the practical aspects of rural, of agri, of food, and at the same time they are also very well conversant with the traditional domains of marketing, financing, supply chain, technology, etc. So there is a lot of opportunity, and I feel compared to any other sector, within, say, manufacturing or services domains. I think the food, agri, rural sector is a great opportunity. Startups, again, that's another one. Because there are lots of young enterprising. There are more than 1,500 startups in the country. So that's another opportunity. You want to make a career for yourself. You want to do something of your own. You want to launch something of your own. The enabling environment is much more enabling now. You get access to a lot of funding, financing. The entire ecosystem is much more evolved and much better than what it was many years ago. So there are many, you will observe, there are also many good entrepreneurs in food, agri, rural sector who've also done a good job.
So when it comes to understanding people, how do you think the IRMA way of teaching kind of molds you into that mindset? Ki understand people first and then maybe go for interventions. So how do you put that?
See, one of the best things about the IRMA curriculum is at the time that you join itself, there is a rural segment. And then there is another longer rural segment for a couple of weeks and a management traineeship segment, just like a summer traineeship. And in most of these assignments, especially in the village fieldwork part, you typically go to a village, you spend time with the people in a particular area, you're given a certain problem statement or a use case to solve, you work with people on ground. So I think that does a lot of change to you as a personality, because you tend to become more responsive to things around you. You become more empathetic. You become much more patient. Eventually, even if one might end up doing a job in the rural sector or agri sector, doesn't matter. One might even change sectors or streams. But I think that entire exposure of getting, seeing things on ground, working in rural areas, working with rural people, trying to, at least academically, theoretically, if not practically, trying to solve the problems. And, so I think that is a very, very unique part of the IRMA curriculum and the IRMA way of training, which no other institute offers. And that remains with you for the rest of your life and at the back of your mind or inside your head. And that helps you in a very big way in the long run. And that gives you a lot of, professional satisfaction as well in the long run. You are suddenly put in a situation which you have never handled before, because most of us, of course, many people, maybe they are from rural backgrounds as well. But in our batch, I remember most of us were from an urban area. And the fact that you are put in a totally uncomfortable place, uncomfortable in the sense you are not used to that. The people, the way the social interactions happen, the way you live on a day-to-day basis. So that suddenly changes your mindset, and it's not just a personal mindset, it also somewhere helps you professionally. So the ability, in one sentence, if you would like to summarize, it is the ability to be able to handle unstructured situations, which is very, very unique. And only this kind of curriculum and this kind of atmosphere and this kind of place that IRMA is can offer something like this. I don't think there is any other institute